We're going to look at atoms and elements today. Atoms and elements. Atoms are what make up everything, including you. They're so tiny that they're far too small to see, even with a microscope. So much so that if people were the same size as atoms, then the entire population of the world would fit into a box about 1/1000 of a millimetre across, which should give you an idea that they're pretty small. We usually imagine atoms as being like tiny balls, and to make diagrams simpler, we often draw them as circles. Now, when it comes to elements, there are over 100 different elements, and the atoms in a particular element are the same as each other. For example, lead and gold are both elements, and a piece of pure gold, whose chemical symbol, by the way, is Au, that's gold, and lead, Pb, contain only those things. So, a piece of pure gold would have atoms of Au, 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 and a piece of lead would have atoms of lead and lead and lead. The atoms of some elements do not join together, but instead they stay as separate atoms. Helium, which is a gas and has this chemical symbol, is like this. But the atoms of other elements, such as hydrogen, which is a H, and oxygen, which is O, they join together to make molecules. So to look at, helium has separate molecules. Hydrogens join together in pairs, and oxygen also joins together in pairs. If we take a substance that contains atoms of two or more different elements, and these are chemically joined together, we call this a compound. For example, water, you may have come across the symbol H2O for water. This shows that it's a compound of hydrogen and oxygen. Each of the molecules of water contain 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. There are very many different compounds. Carbon dioxide, for example, another one you will have known of. CO2 contains 1 carbon and 2 oxygens. You will have seen that I've represented things with chemical symbols. This is just a shorthand way of writing or representing names of different elements. Each element is given its own chemical symbol. H for hydrogen, or O for oxygen. And chemical symbols are usually 1 or 2 letters long. Every chemical symbol starts with a capital letter, and the second letter is written in lowercase. So, for example, Mg, capital M, small g, is the correct symbol for magnesium. But Mg or Mg and Mg are all wrong. You must take care to write the chemical symbols correctly. The problem is that some are easier to remember than others, because sometimes it's easy to tell which element a symbol stands for. For example, C stands for carbon, and Li, lithium. But sometimes the symbol comes from a name for the element that is not an English word. For example, W stands for tungsten. It's from the Latin word wolfram. And Na stands for sodium, from the Latin word natrium. The same chemical symbols are used all over the world, no matter which language is spoken, and that makes it really, really useful